Well, hi, everyone. This is Linda Baumgarten with the Connecticut Real Estate Investors Association, hosting another episode of the Nuts and Bolts series for real estate entrepreneurs. And this series is designed to give you cutting-edge information and accurate information about all the tools and resources you need to be successful in this business. And one of the most popular questions I get is, how am I going to buy the real estate? How am I going to finance the real estate? Well, I hope to give you some really good answers today, because today I am interviewing A.J. Finaro from Brookview Financial. A.J., are you on the call now?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Linda. How you doing?
I'm good. And, you know, A.J. and I have been working together for, well, as long as CT REIA has been around. You've been a longtime sponsor of us, and you've provided financing for a whole lot of our rehabbers. And it does help that you're located right here in Connecticut, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They can come visit us anytime.
So, and the website for them just is very interactive. It's brookviewfinancial.com, just so you know. But let's just talk about it. So, first of all, let's talk about a little bit of basics. So, what is hard money anyway, and who uses it?
Well, a lot of people use hard money. I think in your context, the people are probably buying houses, right, for the most part?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, I mean, but there's hard money commercial. We have a commercial program as well. But in terms of the house side, it's money that's, you know, a little bit harder to find, and usually you need to close very, very fast, and conventional lenders don't usually finance these types of projects. There's a specialized nature to it. For example, there may be a rehab component, and so you have to go to a private source that can, you know, move pretty quickly with that.
Yeah, one of the nice things about working with Brookview is that once you're approved by you, then it's just approving the project. You don't have to go through your own personal approval over and over again. Correct?
Right, exactly. You can go onto the website or call the office, and then you go through an application process, and that's one time, because we're designed, Linda, to set up businesses, refinance businesses. This is repeat business, and you know, it's an old school relationship style of lending. Also underwriting the property, of course, but that's absolutely right. You know, just one-time application.
Yeah. So, you know, typically, you know, a rehabber, you know, so somebody comes to you and they have a single-family house that they want to renovate, and they, what types of questions, or what's kind of the approval or the application process? What kinds of questions are you looking for from people?
Well, if they go to the website, they can download the application, and then we get some personal information on them, of course, and then there's a deal submission form that we can send them as well, and then they fill that out, and you know, we can prove the deal, and they'll get an internal worksheet from us that says all the terms and conditions, and we're ready to go, and we can finance very, very quickly. Now, we've been doing it a long time.
Yes, you have.
Would it help if I gave the group sort of an overview of Brookview and who we are, and kind of put it in perspective, sure. And then we talk about some of the specifics?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Brookview Financial is actually, it's a 20-plus year company, and I founded it back in 1992, actually, after I left. You may know I was on Wall Street and did a lot of merger and acquisitions and real estate financing and corporate finance and so forth. And they said, hey, I want to put something together that's more kind of Main Street oriented, and we set up Brookview Financial. Now, many people, and most people, I would say, know us because we do the rehab financing for 1 to 4 family houses, but we actually started and continue to do today large portfolio financings and arranging big pools. In fact, we just did a $19 million deal in Connecticut out of a bank. And so, you know, if anybody has relationships there and, you know, paper-wise, interested in the paper business, we know that intimately. If you came to our office, you know, you'd see, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in plaques all around our office and those types of deals that we do. And then we take some of that money and we invest it into, you know, loaning to the rehab space as well. We also, just to mention, we have a commercial hard money business too. You know, I'm working right now on an $18 million project. There's a $2.5 million project, and you know, the $18 million project is going to close in 2 weeks, and it's from a motivated seller. So particularly if there's some improvement in renovation that's involved, we really like that, and if it has to close fast. So, you know, we're a national direct private lender for bridge lending and real estate that has to close very, very quickly. But I will say the thing we're most passionate about is financing individuals who are buying the 1 to 4 family houses. And the reason why we're so passionate about that, Linda, is every day you get a call from somebody, and unlike institutions, these are individuals, as a lot of your members, they're just trying to make a better life for themselves and their family, right? And
right.
so you get these calls. Last night, I'm here sometimes late at night, and if everybody's gone, I'll pick up the phone, and it's Cedric. This gentleman, Cedric, right? He's from New York, wants to renovate in Pennsylvania, he said. And, he's 29 years old, and he has a wife, and he has 2 children, and his credit's not so good. He doesn't have a lot of cash, but he's studying a market. He identified a place to do his business, and he's studying it, and he seemed very knowledgeable. And I must have spent 20, 25 minutes with him on the phone. And it's not me particularly or exclusively, anybody in our office, if they called, that's the type of company we are. We focus on the borrowers first and understand their story. And so we're most passionate about the rehab lending space because we think we can make, one investor at a time, so to speak, but we can make a tremendous impact in people's lives. And that ultimately is really, really fulfilling and pretty humbling. And I think we may, in fact, be the only national lender that survived the credit storm. And that's something. So, and
it is
and
something,
as you know,
is it?
yeah, right.
But you really are changing people's lives because most people, when they finish a single-family house, they're usually making $30,000 to $40,000 profit, and if they do that, just doing 2 rehabs a year is usually walk-away income for people. So imagine being able to walk away from your job because you have the skill, but also that you have access to the funding for it.
It is a big deal. This morning I got a call from somebody who works for, one of the big national accounting firms, and he said, "Hey, I want to talk to you because, even though he's making a good amount of money, he doesn't feel challenged and he wants to make some more money." There's across the whole spectrum, and so we very much focus on the borrower and focus on different programs for different folks, okay? Because you can't have a one-size-fit-all type of program, and we can get into some generalities and and so forth and some specifics as well. But I'd say the main reason, there's a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons why we survived the storm, and a lot of the lenders that did not, they were friends of ours. And unfortunately, when a lender goes down, you got 2 problems. One, the lender's going down, so there's no more money available. And secondly, you have a bunch of borrowers, okay, who also failed, right? Because it's correlated. Right. If a borrower, if a lender failed, the borrowers were also part of the problem there, right? And so you got a lose-lose scenario. And I think what's very, very important to understand about Brookview's process and why, we are still here today after 20-plus years is that we focus on the individual and get the right financial structure. Linda, if you came to us to borrow, it's one structure because you're one individual. If another person came and borrowed, they're all different. And the number one reason why the credit storm and the housing storm happened, the number one reason, and we can blame Wall Street, we can blame the government, we can blame whoever you want to blame, okay, the borrowers, but the number one reason is that the financial structure was wrong. Okay, do you know that in the year 2000, right, say the average household income was about $40,000 back then, right? So in the year 2000, that household making $40,000 can borrow about 3x, about 3 times, so about $120,000 to go buy a house. By the year 2005, that same $40,000, they could borrow 9 times, $360,000.
Wow.
All right. So we set them up to fail. All right. And what's really important is that we get the right structure. Of course you got to have the right deal. And we have never, to our knowledge, financed a deal that wasn't going to be profitable for the borrower. So you start out with a good deal. That's assumed. But the financial structure and the right structure for the borrower is absolutely more important, or as much important. And when you get that, then you're on your way. Okay.
Can you tell a little more about what you mean by structure? When you say get the right structure, or an example of what you've done?
What I mean is, okay, let me give you some generics and then some specifics. Like rehabbing a house, it's analogous to building a bridge. And what I mean by that is, if you have a bridge and that bridge is 75% complete, you still don't have a bridge.
Right.
Right?
Of course.
You would have been better off not even starting that bridge, because now you got a bunch of money invested. And it's the same thing that you can't recoup, right? And it's you got a bridge to nowhere. It can't go anywhere. And Linda, how many times of the houses you've done, how many times, or stories you've heard, how many times have you heard that a contractor comes in and looks at somebody else's work and says, "Oh, they did such a great job. All I have to do is touch up this or that, and we're done."
I've never heard anybody say that once.
Right. Okay.
They always complain about, I hate cleaning up after somebody else's bad job. That's what they always say. Right.
Okay. And I got to take this part and this and this, and there's all problem. Okay. And it's not going to be additive. There's going to be multiple effects that it's going to cost them even more. And so when you're rehabbing a house, the goal is you got to get the bridge finished and get it done. Now, let me ask you this. What's the number one reason why projects fail? What's the number one reason why small businesses fail?
They don't have enough capital.
Exactly. They run out of cash. Okay? You can be equity rich but cash flow poor. If you don't have enough capital and you run out, you're dead in the water. Okay? And so let's take this idea for structure. Now, we design our loans, for example, where the interest is coming out of a pre-funded account and there's no interest payments, at least for the first 6 months. Okay? And why is that? And the reason why we do it that way is because no lender will continue to fund rehab advances if the loan is not current. Right? They're going to stop.
Right.
They're going to stop. All right. Well, but that hurts not only the lender, but it also hurts the borrower and the project. And as we said, we've got to get the project done. And so our borrowers never have to worry about the interest payments, okay, and the project is never going to stop because the loan is not current. Also, look at the fact that all our loans always have 100% allocated for the rehab. All right, and, and there's a lot of lenders out there and look at things a little bit differently. We talked to a guy yesterday who he's borrowing and he's getting 80% of purchase and 80% of rehab, and we're going to give him like $1 million line. But we're not going to do it that way. We're never going to have where he only gets part of the rehab. It's always going to be 100% of the rehab because we want to make sure that we know the interest is covered and we know the rehab is covered because we have the funds to finish the project, right? And so that's one idea in terms of the right structure. And then, of course, if you have somebody say, I would imagine you have some folks that maybe are credit challenged and don't have a lot of capital.
Just a few of those, yes.
Yeah. But look, everybody has to start somewhere, okay?
Correct.
And the fact that they're a member of the CT REIA and the fact that they're taking these courses and they're not just sitting around and saying, woe is me and that kind of thing. They're actually being proactive and doing something positive for themselves. Okay, that's an awesome start. It's an awesome start. All right, so now let's work with that, okay, and let's get them the right structure, the right advice, and make sure that they're doing the right projects. Okay, and we can put something like that together. Like, I don't know if you know that we also have a program where, let's just say they don't have enough to, cover the amount of money that we require to put into our reserves. That we also have a program where we work with some junior partners, and if they like the project, and they should, because borrowers shouldn't be doing projects that aren't profitable for them. But if they like the project, they can come in on a partnership basis, and yes, they're going to get some of the profit, as they should, because they're taking a junior position in it. But but it may help somebody at that particular stage that they're at, right? And then in the long term, then maybe we don't need the partner so much, but the partners are also there to help them and guide them as well, too. And so
basically, what you're saying is, with the junior partner coming in, then the junior partner puts in a little bit of money, and they're, I guess, using their credit to secure the loan. Is that what's happening? And then they share in, like, say, 50-50 of the profit. Is that kind of how that works?
Similar. So, Brookview will come in, and we're a senior lender, right? And so we'll come in and we'll say we'll advance up to 65% of the after-repaired value of the property. And the borrower typically, comes up with some reserve money, and they'll cover the interest side for the reserve, and could be as little as 12.5%, for actual cash in, and we can go through that on a case-by-case basis, and but the more credit challenged somebody is, the more they're going to have to come to the table with. But that's where this junior partner can come in, and they can help with some of that cash. And they're just looking at it in terms of an internal rate of return. So the more the borrower can come up with, and the less that the junior partner has to come up with, obviously the less percent-wise of the profit that the junior partner is going to need to get. They just look at an internal rates of return. And it's never more than 50%, but and they could fund anywhere from 20 to 30% of the transaction. And
that sounds like a really great program. So it's basically you're providing the rich uncle, I guess. As part of this and structuring it so that it can work. And what a great way to get started, because making even 50% of something is a whole lot better than 100% of nothing, because you get started and you learn the project and you make some money and then you move on to the next one.
Right.
Sounds like a great program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worked out pretty well, and of course, we look at our these junior partners, and we get lots of calls from folks that want to do that. We try to screen that as best as we can, and the groups that we work with now seem pretty good. So we're all before we take in on anybody, we do our due diligence too. We want to make sure that they're all aligned and the objective, and they care about the borrowers like we do. And you can't control everything, but you do the best you can with that.
Sure. And are there any other programs that that you all offer that our members would like to know about?
Well, Linda, we finance. It's amazing what we do here. I mean, we're financing a $100,000 loan on one hand, and then we got a $20 million loan on the other side of it. But I would just say it matches where the borrower is in terms of their experience level and their financial situation. So, I mean, just yesterday alone, as I mentioned, I took a call last night from this fellow who's 29 years old and, credit challenge and so forth, and, we'll see if we can get him $100,000 approval. Okay. We also took a call from this fellow who's rehabbed over 30 houses and, and wants a credit facility for like $1 million. And we're also working on this commercial deal that's $18 million that's got to close in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it's a pretty broad spectrum of what we're doing.
Yeah, you have an exciting job there. Yes.
But I would say,
So the best thing for people to do is, if they have a project, they should visit your site, Brookview Financial. They should go through the application process and get a meeting with one of your advisors, and then just figure out where it could go. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, in this business, you need to line up your capital first, in my opinion, anyway. If you're out there shopping, you should have a sense of what you can qualify for on your financing side, right? And so it doesn't hurt to get into a company like ours or anybody else you feel comfortable with. There's a lot of good lenders out there, but just feel comfortable with them, and feel like there's a good relationship with them. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. All right. Well, AJ, thank you so much. I know that you're busy managing an entire company. So, are there any last words of wisdom?
They manage me, Linda.
They manage you. You're a smart boss, by the way.
I just show up,
Yeah, right. By the way, AJ's brother, he's a rehabber himself. So, I mean, AJ gets it from a lot of people. So he hears what's going on in the market day by day.
Or something.
What's that?
Pat's done about 150 houses, I think.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, really, like buy, rehab, and sell, kind of thing.
Yeah, he does the whole gamut of it. He does it from start to finish.
Yeah, so he's good to have as a resource if anybody has a question,
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, AJ, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at a coming meeting, and thanks for spending the time with us and educating us about what's going on, what kinds of creative financing and loan programs are out there. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Linda. No problem. Okay.